Do a Powerbomb is a comic book series that is published by Image Comics that came out about 6 months ago, written and illustrated by Daniel Warren Johnson. Now, if you guys are fans of the channel or subscribers, you probably know my love for Daniel Warren Johnson and everything that he does. I mean, literally anything the guy touches turns to gold at this point, and I am convinced that he can do no wrong. And with Do a Powerbomb, it is no exception. Do a Powerbomb issue number 1 is going to be the comic that we're looking at today. Not only is this going to be a review, but this is going to be kind of a read-through where we'll hit the top-down camera and we'll go page by page and take a look at why this comic is so special, why it is, in my opinion, one of the best comics of 2022, and why it really just proves the creativity, the passion, and the love that Daniel Warren Johnson continues to put in his comic book series. Now, if you guys don't know who Daniel Warren Johnson is, he has done most recently a fantastic Beta Ray Bill series from Marvel, and I believe that was a 6-issue miniseries, 5 or 6-issue miniseries. But he's also done, Image comic books like Murder Falcon, that is his own creation. He's also done Extremity, and he's also been in some DC comic books, more notably the Superman Red and Blue anthology series. He had a short, probably 7 or 8 page short story in there that absolutely brought me to tears. He's a fantastic storyteller and he's extremely creative. And of course, I had to rep the shirt on the YouTube video today because these are our 2 protagonists in the comic book series. If you guys want these shirts, I'm pretty sure you can find them on the Daniel Warren Johnson website. But yeah, no, you have Cobra Sun and Lona Steelrose, who are our 2 protagonists. And let's get into the comic so that you guys kind of understand who these characters are and what their backstories are and everything. So let's go to the top-down camera here. And already we see an incredible cover. I mean, talk about something that is just explosive. This jumps off of the page and into your hearts. It is so much fun. And already, if I see this on the shelves at comic book shops and I don't know what this is, I'm most likely going to pick it up just by this cover, and I love that. You have Lona, or maybe Yua, I'm not sure. And then we also have Cobra Sun, which are, of course, the 2 main characters on my shirt as well. And then we almost have like a audience of zombies, skeletons down here, which will come into play later as well, which is pretty fun. But already, we open this book and we are met with an incredible page of dynamic action and poses, and a good amount of dialogue that doesn't overbear the actual comic book. It's some good exposition, and it's setting up the story for these 2 characters who are about to fight in this wrestling federation that Daniel Warren Johnson has come up with here. Now, DWJ is notorious for being a huge lover of wrestling, which is why when he wrote the book Murder Falcon, it's about this metal falcon, like forming a band and everything, playing metal music, because he's also a fan of metal. So I think a lot of his loves kind of show in the books, which is why there's so much passion in these as well. But I just love automatically you're seeing like these 2 characters facing off. And it's these 2 announcers, if you want to call them that, basically talking about the fight between Cobra Sun and Yua Steelrose. It says it's all on the line now between 2 of the best wrestlers on the planet. And if I'm honest, Lucky, I'm rooting for Yua. TGPU, which you see down here on the belt, is the Wrestling Federation. I think that's like their WWE or whatnot. So then we see Yua and her husband and their daughter, Lona, and we get introduced to some of our main characters here, and then we're also introduced to Lona's uncle, who is Yua's brother, Uncle Blood, and they're just saying their goodbyes before Yua goes off to fight in the ring, and I love how the 2 of them are like this tag team, if you will, if we're going to use wrestling analogies. It's this family dynamic that is really, really well written, and it's just compassionate. There's just a lot of love here, and there's a lot of passion written here. Yua says, "Hey, baby, come here." Mom, what's the matter? Nothing's wrong. It's just, I'm fighting for you. I'm doing what I love. It feels good. Like, just simple. It's not anything too heady or too, dialectical. It's just simple, and it's very fun, and it's very lighthearted. And even the father here says, "Hey, I love you. I love you too," she says as they kiss and they embrace before she goes off to fight. And then here it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for your main event of the evening. And check out this page, you guys. The amount of detail in this thing. I mean, come on. You can practically hear the page right now. Like, I'm hearing the crowd screaming with the big, And then the announcer saying, "Lona Steelrose," as she holds up the TGPW the wrestling belt. I love her figure. I love how Daniel draws this page. It's extremely dynamic, and you guys will continue to hear me say that word because a lot of his stuff really is dynamic. But she makes this announcement before she fights, and she says, "Wrestling was my life. Getting this belt was my life. I wanted the glory and the fame, but then I became a mother, and now I don't fight for a belt. I fight for my family. I fight for my daughter. I fight for my lover." Boom. I love that, man. I love that she is still able to be a strong, powerful woman who's good, who's not just good, one of the best in her wrestling federation, and yet still knows that the most important thing to her is a mother and a wife. And I love that. It just speaks to her compassion towards her family, her love towards her family, but also her love towards wrestling as well. And then she says, "But they're not my only family. You, every one of you are my family too." And she points to the crowd. It's awesome. But hold up, wait a second. Who do we got here? We have Cobra Sun coming out, and he goes, "Cut the music." And he interrupts her right in the middle of this amazing speech. And already we're thinking, ooh, Cobra Sun is the bad guy. I don't know who this dude thinks he is, but he is interrupting my girl Yua. I don't think so. So he comes onto the stage and he goes, Good, boo me all you like. I don't care. Unlike my opponent, I have no curtain over my eyes. She calls you her family, quote unquote. So sweet it makes me sick. It's so great. I love this. Sounds like what a WWE or WWF wrestling match sounds like. You can tell that DWJ has watched plenty of them. And then here we go, no less than just a few pages into the book, and we're getting non-stop action here. We got introduced to our protagonist. We got introduced to some more characters. We had a nice family dynamic, but now we're right into the action, and it's a great introduction to these characters. Like I said, fantastic dynamic poses. You can really feel the weight of this kick that's about to nail Cobra Sun in the head. Crack. And you see Lona watching her mom saying, "Go, Mom, go." And another thing that DWJ does here that I actually really appreciate, he pulls no punches. I mean, when Cobra Sun grabs Yua, I was scared for her life because Cobra Sun is a big dude and he just whips her around like a rag doll, man. He throws her over the ring like railings and into the crowd. And even Yua's brother goes, "It's okay, Lona, your mom knows what she's doing." And so Cobra Sun gets up on the top ring and he jumps off and does this insane backflip. And like I said, the artwork in this is so incredibly dynamic. It's so action-filled. Even something as like this top-down angle, the shot that we see Cobra Sun up in the air, you feel the weight. Like you can see him in action, dropping down from that top ring and falling, crashing down onto Yua. So then he goes for a finishing move. He brings her back into the ring, and Lona's scared because she's worried about what's going to happen to her mom. And we see a slip by Cobra Sun. And this is where the comic takes a turn for the worst. Cobra Sun drops Yua on her neck inadvertently. That wasn't part of the move, and it wasn't part of the actual show. And we hear a big crack across the panel. And I remember reading this firsthand, or the first time I remember reading this, I was like stunned. I literally was like, wow, they're going there. They went there. I was stunned, and so I'm hoping that, wait a sec, this is our protagonist, right? Shouldn't we see more of this Yua? But sure enough, we see Lona running after her mom. She goes, "Mom, wake up, Mom." It's almost like, Simba in The Lion King when he's trying to wake up Mufasa. Oh, so hard hitting. And so she gets taken away on a stretcher. And at the end of the match, we see a mysterious figure down here watching the entire thing. And we don't know who this is yet, but he'll come into play later. So then we kind of get I want to say somewhat of like a past event, or we're kind of looking into the past. And Lona says, "One more, please." No, it's time to sleep," says Yua. "Then will you stay with me for a few minutes?" And this is a great scene too, because it's such a beautiful little, fun room. And it's just a glimpse into this mother-daughter relationship that I think is very heartfelt, is very caring. And you couldn't get this type of feeling if you didn't have someone who has experienced this before, or who has either experienced this from their mother or has seen this in their life, or, DWJ, he is married and has 2 children, I believe. And so he's probably seen this firsthand in his family as well. So I just love this image so much, and the room is so much fun. Like, you have all these wrestling posters and action figures here, and you can just tell that these two really love each other and that they both have a passion for wrestling. And then one of the most hard-hitting and impactful scenes in the whole issue is the dad coming out and him saying, "She's gone, baby," and then him holding Lona in his arms while the uncle cries in the chair next to him. Extremely heavy. This is not for the faint of heart. This is definitely a impactful and intense issue, and just an overall intense book. They are on, I want to say, issue number 5 right now as of this video, and each book packs a punch. There's always a heavy, shoe that is dropped at either the middle of the issue or the end of the issue. So then we get 10 years later, and we see Lona kind of all grown up, and she's getting smacked in the face. So like I said, DWJ does not pull his punches with, fighting and having these women fight each other. And she is fighting this other individual who is just absolutely wrecking her. But we see that every time that Lona falls, she gets right back up, and she said, "Is that all you got?" Down here at this bottom panel, she dodges. Steelrose going for the last-ditch submission attempts with the Pillars of Golgotha. It looks like it might be having some effect, but no. Rain is climbing to the top, and then they jump. Blam! 1, 2, 3. And it looks like, unfortunately, Lona lost that one, as she's lying down here. So, like I said, Lona isn't this, perfect Mary Sue. She is, she fails. She has to kind of go through some hardships. And we'll see even more so at the end of this issue. And so the coordinator says, "Here's your payment, Lona. Thanks for coming." Or actually, it's Uncle Blood, sorry. And they're kind of discussing her wrestling and what that means for the future. He says, "Well, for starters, you're green, really green. I can tell you haven't done this professionally." And she says, "I've been training since I was 11. And he goes, "I'm not talking about taking bumps in your backyard on a piece of plywood. I'm talking the real deal, high stakes. I know I've been looking for a long time, but I haven't been able to find a trainer. Of course not. You're Lona Steelrose's daughter. Nobody wants to touch you. And so we get deeper into this storyline, seeing as though Yua passed away from this wrestling, because she was wrestling. No one wants to train Lona in fears that they would have that same weight on their shoulders, that something like an accident like that could happen again. So we're seeing much more character development. We're seeing a lot of great dialogue between family members, and you're really interested in Lona and her pursuit in becoming a wrestler. So Uncle Blood says, I wish I could help. I do, but the way things go, the way she, So my mom dying in the ring means I can't wrestle and you won't even help me? It's not just that, Lona. I made a promise a long time ago. What kind of promise? And then she walks away. And then she gets an interaction with her dad. And you can see that she's kind of resentful towards him because he hasn't been spending much time and hasn't been training her. She says that, Dad, I told you don't come to my matches. Look, I'm sorry you won't pick up your phone, and I just thought we could talk for a minute. We've talked enough. Is there anything you're going to say that will be different from our last talk, quote unquote? I'm sick of saying it. I'm not going to quit wrestling. It's time to give it up. You've been trying to get a trainer for years because you kept Uncle Blood from taking me on. How can you blame me, Lona? You're my daughter. I want you to be safe. So it's understandable that this father is trying to look out for his daughter, especially after what happened to his wife in the ring. I mean, something that horrible, you would never want that same thing to happen to your daughter. So Lona says, this is my choice. I'm going to go all the way. I'll show everybody I can do this. I'm a Steelrose just like Mom was, and I'm going to be just like her. So once again, we see that kind of creepy figure down here, and we find out who he finally is. He starts to kind of trail Lona, and he says, hello, I didn't mean to frighten you. She goes, who are you? Do you work for the promotion? Not exactly. I'm busy, okay? I'll see you at a show or something. And he goes, I've been watching you for a long time. I don't know what kind of sleazy jerk you are, but I want no part of it, whatever. And he goes, maybe it'd just be easier if I just show you. And then he brings her to what is his home. Dude, can you guys look at this page? Look at this 2-page spread and tell me this is not top tier talent by Daniel Warren Johnson. This is incredible. And this is stuff that he does every single issue. This is just issue number 1. And he's done plenty of series. Like I said, the Beta Ray Bill one, he does splash pages and 2-page spreads like this in every single book. And so this necromancer, which we find out here, he says, my name is Willard Necron. Welcome to the Barren Bastion, my castle and my home. I'm a necromancer. I'm running a tournament of sorts, but a belt isn't the only prize. I'd like to talk to you about bringing your mom back to life. And that is where we end issue number 1. So that is a full look at Daniel Warren Johnson's Do a Powerbomb issue number 1. What did you guys think? I would love to do an entire video series of the issues that are currently out. Like I said, I think they're up to about 5 right now as of October 2022. And this, to me, has got to be one of the best, if not the best, indie series of 2022. Daniel Warren Johnson is bringing the heat in this, and you can just see just how much time and effort he's really put into this series. I mean, what more could you ask for? It's creative, it's drawn beautifully, you have characters that are likable and relatable, you have a story that is very action-packed and moves at a quick pace. I mean, everything about this book is just fantastic, and I've really been enjoying the series so far. So yeah, let me know if you guys have been picking up this book. Let me know if you guys would like to see more videos with issue number 2, 3, 4, 5, and we could do a whole video series on it. But anyway, that does it for Do a Powerbomb issue number 1 by Daniel Warren Johnson. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.